Now,
Welcome back.
yes, a very warm welcome from us, Arianna and
Enrico.
yes, and we're always very happy to meet you here on this beautiful, let's say, channeling, beautiful group. And tonight we are going to fly again to the Canary Islands. It's the third part of our journey throughout these beautiful islands that lie in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So, what are we going to see tonight, Enrico?
So we are going to see the last ancient places we visited in Lanzarote, and we're going to see also all the nature and power places of the whole archipelago, because the archipelago is really rich in nature, and you don't only have power places, ancient ancient monuments, but you also have a lot of power places, magical places, the nature, the wild nature of the Canary Islands, which is very rich and very different, because you have volcanoes, volcanic rocks, desert. You have beaches. You can also have a very lush green, let's say, subtropical forests, like this is very similar to raining forest, but also pine forest in altitude, and you have many interesting, very peculiar natural phenomenon that cause the horizontal rain, for example.
Yes.
Very strange.
Yes.
Which can give power to the island, and makes very peculiar thing happen.
Yeah, and we are going to
islands.
show and explain, and there are already people connected, and so I think, of course, we can start this journey. We're going to show you some beautiful slides, and so in this way we are really going to travel and discover these islands that are really worth seeing from many different points of view. So let's start our journey, Enrico.
Yes.
So as we were saying, we still have to show you something about the Aboriginal culture of the island of Lanzarote. Lanzarote is very famous for its beaches, and the climate is a bit cooler, let's say, than islands like Tenerife or Gran Canaria. Here you can see a map of the whole archipelago, because there are usually winds coming from the desert, from Sahara Desert. And for this reason, there you find beaches that are really white or golden beaches, because of the sand that can come actually really from the Sahara. It's a very beautiful island, and imprinting of this island was given in the early 60s by an extraordinary architect. His name was Cesar Manrique. He was really very fond of his island, and even if he could have had a very successful career in New York and in the States, he decided to go back to Lanzarote because he loved his island and he wanted to give a specific imprinting, tourist imprinting, at the island. And for this reason, the environment has always been very much protected on this island, because he was very conscious of the importance of nature, and he wanted to enhance the beauty of this island. This island in ancient days was inhabited by a tribe called the Majos, and this tribe didn't make, for example, didn't build pyramids or other peculiar buildings that we have seen on the other islands, like, for example, caves. But there is a mystery concerning archaeology on this island. So, what is it?
Hi, Rebecca and you.
Oh, Rebecca and
again.
you. Hi again. We are really, really happy to see you here.
Hi, Laura. Again.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Following us.
Yes.
Constantly. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And anyway, at 10 o'clock Italian time, we are going to have the Italian version of our talk, our speech. Okay, Enrico, so let's show this beautiful audience the mystery about these very strange, peculiar things carved in the rock. They are called queseras in Spanish, and queseras has something to do with cheese.
Yes.
Huh? Yes.
Actually, in the rest of Europe, these kind of monuments are called cart rats, because it is thought that maybe carts, wooden carts, could have done these channels on the rocks, but in Spanish, in the Spanish archipelago, they thought that instead they could have been used to do cheese, because they are very short. It's not a very long cart rat. In Europe, you have very long cart rats, so you can maybe think that a cart could have gone for a road for meters and meters. Here it's very short. They thought that maybe they could put milk there at the sun to transform it in cheese, but actually
it seems a bit strange.
Quite both these official theories are very, very dummy. Quite dummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who know Sardinia, for example, Rebecca and Hugh visited Sardinia last year with us, and they visited the cart rats that we have in the area of Sassari. You can see actually that there are some similarities, but as Enrico was rightly saying, they differ because they're very, very short. They're not long channels, you know. And so for this reason anyway, they're very mysterious. What we think actually, also by measuring with our tools like dowsing and using psychic archaeology to ask questions about the place, connecting through meditation in this place, it really seems that these were places for special rituals, because as we have already seen in the other episodes, the natives of the Canary Islands were very much into spirituality. They had a very specific spiritual vision, and like many people in previous times, everything was sacred to them, and there was like an urge to honor all the elements, to honor the their deities. And so this was a place probably, in our opinion, probably used for special rituals. So they could actually use water or maybe milk, because we know that milk was used for offerings on the Canary Islands, and use this place to honor their gods and goddesses. We would like to underline here that they honored especially the sun and the moon. The sun was called Majek, and the moon was often called Moneiba. We know this thanks to the reports, the chronicles of some historians who traveled towards these islands at the time of the Spanish conquest. Yeah, so this is a very special place to visit. Here you see I am there meditating, trying to connect with the energy of the place in order to feel what the place has to say. And this is a place that is not actually in the maps, official maps for visitors who visit Lanzarote. So you have to go on your own and search for it. We were very lucky because we managed to see a group of people working on another archaeological site when we were there. So we went there and we asked for some information. There were some archaeologists and students in archaeology, and so they they explained us the position, the location of the place, and we could reach it.
We knew it was in the area, but we really didn't know it. Exact position. So
yeah, we had to search and look for it, and finally we reached it, and we managed to find this place, and it's worth seeing it. Actually, it is.
Yeah, because it's really peculiar in comparison with the other cut rats, because as we have seen earlier, they are very short but very deep. Actually, and probably there's also a connection stars. Maybe it can mark an alignment. We have some suspects, but we don't know for sure. We're still investigating to confirm that.
Yes. We know that our friend Hugh Newman, who is also very fond of archaeology, and he has this British association, Megalithomania, and he travels around the world to see places. He was on holiday there, and so we had talked to him about the Caseras of Lanzarote, so he went there to have a look himself. Because we all love mysteries, and we want to discover a few things more, maybe, or anyway, just curious to see these mysterious places. You see that there are also some cup marks carved on these stones, and cup marks were often related actually to rituals. We have many all over the world. We have many, for example, in Sardinia, especially in the early period of Sardinia. We have here to underline again that the Canary Islands lived like in the Neolithic time until the Spanish conquest at the beginning of the 15th century. And I want to say hello to everybody. Fausta is watching us, and Sandra from Tenerife. She's Italian, but she's been living in Tenerife for quite a while.
Welcome inside our virtual space again.
Yeah, we are always very happy when you are connected. And of course, hi to everybody. Very happy. Yes, Fausta, yes.
Buenos Sera to you.
Yes, Eliana is watching. Thanks for watching. We are very, very happy to see you here.
This is the other site. I've sent the position to you, but actually you was on holiday to
where with
to
his family,
celebrate his grandpa's birthday, and so grandma and her grandma couldn't come here. The caseras were easy to find, so also grandma visited it. But Pico della Aceituna is actually a very peculiar site.
Yeah, quite steep to reach.
Yeah, it's a very short walk, not even 10 minutes, but it's very steep on the top of a mountain with a double tagoro, which is a typical monument of the Canary Islands, and it is a council hut. And so here we have a double tagoro, so two tagoro, one next to the other, and a line of votive stone pillars for the ancestors, as we saw it. So every time the tribe would gather in this sacred place, they would throw a stone inside the pile of rocks as a votive symbol to the ancestors before starting the traditional meeting. And of course, as a council act, they would have to take very important position for all the tribes, and so this place is built in a very peculiar site, exceptional view on both the islands, Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, because this is a place in the north of Lanzarote, so you can see the other island. And as we told you earlier, the Majos tribe was living in both the islands, and so the whole islands probably would gather here in a place very near both the islands in order to take council decisions.
Yeah, because especially because the tagora were usually built on the top of a peak, so that you could have really a vast view. And places were always chosen in ancient times very carefully, very attentively. And in the reason of choosing to build these meeting huts on the top of some peaks was also due to the fact that in that case you were closer to the sky, and because ancient people believed that our soul that survives our body goes up to the sky, in that way it was really easier, let's say, to be in contact, in connection with the ancestors. We have to underline that every time there was a meeting inside these huts, the ancestors were actually called to participate, and there was always a seat that was left empty so that the ancestor could come and the spirit, of course, could come. And of course, let's imagine the shaman that was leading the whole meeting. Let's think, of course, that it was channeling what the ancestor had to say. For example, we know that at a point, one of these shamans saw and knew before that the Spanish arrived to conquer the islands that this would happen. And he saw it as a vision, you know. They were always so very much in connection.
Is one of many pile of rocks for offerings to the ancestors.
You see that the landscape, the view is really amazing.
Of course, It's a place where they would have taken very important decisions. You can understand it by seeing the view. When you have to take an important decision affecting all the tribes, you will need to have a clear view all over the life and the situation we're discussing. So these sacred places really leave you in awe, can give you still nowadays the feeling of having a clear view all over the situation, all over the mountains, all over both the islands.
And here you have another view.
Oh yeah,
Marielle,
I can answer to you. It's Pico della Aceituna. It's of course a very modern name. It means the olive peak.
Yeah. Yes, that's
peak
right.
of olives.
Yeah, of olives. And Mariella is saying you have the privilege to see all those wonderful mystic and spiritual places. I love history. Yeah, let's say it's also yeah, we feel privileged, but also it's a choice, you know, a choice that we have made. And so like every kind of choice anyway
has sacrifices,
yes.
and
Yes,
and happiness, and
yes, but
important events,
yes, but
pushing and
yeah,
pulling you
yeah,
forward to
yes,
continue
yeah,
the path.
yeah, we really think it's our mission, and to discover, rediscover, let's say, these places from the point of view of their energies and their spirituality.
You can see Fuerteventura on this picture. As you can see, the channel of water is very small, so it would have been very easy to travel from one island to the other.
Okay, and Rebecca Maya is asking, what are their important constellations? The skies there are amazing. From the studies of some archaeoastronomers that are actually really rooted, they are from those islands. We know that they also honored Venus very much, and the star Canopo. And we think probably Orion was also important because you can see it quite clearly. But
and of course, solstices and equinoxes.
We know that solstices and equinoxes were very important. Yes.
In Gran Canaria, marking these phenomena. But Canopo was very important for the rains. It had some Aboriginal princes had the name of the star, and this star was starting to be seen on the skies in the period of let's say the winter, which is not really winter, but it's the cloudy period of rainy, the seasonal raining season. So it was very important for them because those islands are volcanic and very dry. They have a subtropical climate, so especially in some islands and some parts of the islands, it is very dry. So they really needed rain cultivate and to grow food for the population. So it was a sacred phenomenon. So Star Canopo was connected to the start of the rainy season. And she was a divinity, of course, a female, very important to them.
Yes, we managed to see it last winter. when we drove up to the mountain Teide, watch the sky at night, which is really amazing. Okay, so here is another view of this meeting hut. You see that they're really very similar, for those of you who know Sardinia, very similar to the ones we find in Sardinia. They are, of course, round, and when they met, of course, they used to sit in a circle so that they could see one another. And it was just the same in Sardinia, and they were also here made without using any kind of
mortar.
So
sunset view.
Yes.
It's really majestic.
And of course, the energy is always very, very spiritual. So when you measure it, you find that kind of measure that is related to a spiritual energy. Yeah, and now let's talk about nature, geology, and in this way we can also show you some of the power places of these islands. There are many, because these islands, being volcanic, are really very, very strong, and you can feel that energy when you are there, especially on the island of Tenerife. You see in here the volcano, the mountain Teide, which is very, very high. It is 3,718 meters high. So very stunning. You can see it from everywhere, of course, not only everywhere in Tenerife, but from many other islands
as
yes,
well.
as well. Yeah, and this was a sacred place for the natives in ancient days. Some of the rocks were honored and worshipped, but the volcano had something special about it.
Yes, exactly, because there a kind of demon was living inside. According to their view, sacred view of the universe, they had a cosmic deity which is called Achaman, which was the deity of creation that engulf everything inside his spirit. So all the dimensions are inside the spirit of Achaman. He was the one who could sustain the skies, literally. And then, according to their spiritual view, they had two kinds of spirit: the creation forces of nature and the destruction forces of nature. The creative spirits were divided into two, and of course they were one, the male, Majek, the spirit of the sun, and Moneiba, the female spirit of the moon. So the encounter of male and female would, of course, be a creative, positive, sacred union which can create life. This union has spiritual, magical properties. It's very important for them. The other part, the counterpart, was the destructive energy of Echeide, which gave the name to the contemporary name of Mount Teide. It was called Echeide. Echeide was a kind of evil spirit, a demon, living inside in a secret chamber inside the mountain, and it is it is said that once the spirit of Echeide managed to trick Majek into going inside the cavern, and he managed to trap the spirit of the sun inside the mountain. And so there were days with complete darkness, and the Aboriginal people prayed for the great spirit of everything, the great sky spirit, Achaman, to intervene and save the population. And he managed to trick again Echeide, go inside the mount, the volcano, and free Majek again. Probably that is the explanation of some maybe eclipses they had seen,
or big eruptions as well, when you have a lot of ashes, and it really it gets really dark, you know, because in those days there were very huge big eruptions. Now these islands are quiet, let's say. There are still some very small earthquakes that you actually don't even hear. The island of El Hierro is actually the most active one.
The latest eruption was in 2011.
Yes, but they are not as terrible as they used to be.
They are very similar to the Hawaiian eruption, which are the safest eruption in the world. So it's a kind of very fluid and not explosive eruptions, but sometimes it gets still it can still get powerful.
So around the Mount Teide there are lots of yeah, here you have other views. There are lots of
and you yes, of course, you can have snow there. At the top of the Mount Teide you have some perennial snow, but sometimes usually in winter when it rains in the south of the island, usually in Mount Teide it is completely
covered
in snow, so the whole area you can see on this picture.
But
will
for
be
example,
completely
this
covered.
last winter it didn't rain a lot. It didn't rain really on the island, and so we didn't have much snow. There are lots of beautiful paths. It is a national park, and so it is protected. The whole area is protected, and you have beautiful paths to walk, and yeah, it's an amazing place, and the energy is really very strong. And so when we go there, we usually meditate, and you can really feel the strength of this island, you know, that it is so regenerating. And it's impossible not to fall in love with this place because it's so beautiful.
We found out that actually even the dumbest stone you can find on your path
are very strong.
It is at least 30,000 bovis, and
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and that's because they are volcanic stones. They are very powerful. We didn't expect such a very high energy value, actually, but we really were in Las Americas, the mystical part, and the dumbest rock we found was at least 30,000, so it's very strong.
The normal in the scale it's 6,500 bovis unit. Yes. Okay, this is the scale that we use
Here
in dowsing, and here you have the snow. You can see the snow, you can touch it, and yeah. Okay, sometimes in winter can be cooler, sometimes not, like this last winter wasn't that cool, and so there was not much snow, but sometimes, yeah, you can get quite a lot of snow. Yeah.
Volcanic formations around the park. The caldera, the crater of Mount Ede is 20 kilometers wide. So it's very, very... Here you can see a river of lava flow, which, of course, consolidated, meanwhile flowing down the peak.
And what is spectacular is that you have these rock formations of different colors, and the landscape differs a lot in colors. And you have this sands that really look like sands that you find on other planets, the Moon or Venus or Mars. And so this park, this area is considered the one that is the most similar to the sands and other planets that we find in our solar system.
The chemical composition, we have three main areas, and the chemical composition is very close. One area to Mars powders, the other area to the Moon powders and rocks, and the other part, also the third part, it was very similar to Venus, and that is why NASA they decided to experiment with their drones, machines, robots,
yeah.
the Mars, the rovers, that's the name. The rover which landed on Mars was used here in Mount Ede. They made many experiments there in order to develop the concept of the rover.
And you have spectacular sunsets. You see it's really golden, and
what you are seeing reflecting the sunlight is a very peculiar phenomenon which is called mar de nubes, the sea cloud, literally, because due to the differences in pressures of the air, clouds cannot form in a higher level than 1,500 meters. And so all the humidity forming the clouds will gather at 1,500 meters. And when you have a higher mountain peak, you can go to the top of the peak and see the sea clouds from above.
Yes.
Which is an incredible phenomenon, which is occurring really very often here in the...
It's always here. It's a volcano, Timanfaya, on the island of Lanzarote. Lanzarote has 300 volcanoes, and so a lot, really a lot. Yeah. And again, this is a national park. There are also some camels, because actually they came from originally from Africa and Morocco, and so they have been used over the years. And there is also this phenomenon of geysers, and this heat is used to cook, for example.
Yeah, the lava flow is very near the crust, actually. So if you dig a well, you really need only 12 meters to find a very, very high temperature stones. And so that was what they did here. They dug a well more or less 12 meters deep, and voila. And then you can cook.
Yes.
Without fire, without anything.
Yes.
Underneath this well, there's only a rock, a flat rock, which is so heated that you cook and have a barbecue.
Yes.
Volcanic barbecue.
So the energy, as we were saying, the energy of these islands is very strong. But we have to say that
Look at the colors.
Yeah, it differs from area to area, from island to island. For example, here you see a beautiful view of all the volcanoes of Lanzarote. We were saying that Tenerife has a very powerful, strong energy, very young, very regenerating. And here, it's totally different. There are all these volcanoes, 300 volcanoes, and the energy is more like going inward. You feel it strong, but it's as if this energy keeps excavating within you. And you elaborate lots of things when you are there. You can have special dreams. It's a very deep energy.
Even though all these islands are volcanic, the energy frequency is totally different.
Yeah.
In Tenerife, for example, I think it also due to the shape of the island, which is triangular, and again, you see the island from above, it is a triangle, but also if you see it in the front, it's also a triangle because you have Mount Teide. So you have very strong arrows pointing up in the sky and north. And so Tenerife is getting a lot of power. So it's a volcanic energy, but it's an explosive kind. You cannot stay there and do anything in Tenerife.
It makes you very active.
Even if you are on vacation, you really need to have a party, to go to the beach.
You feel very energetic, really.
Do something.
Yes.
You cannot stand still. Here in Lanzarote is very deep. It's a volcanic, but it's deep. It makes you
go really
transform yourself. Gran Canaria is rounded as shape, and it is in elevation. It is like a turtle. So it's very, very yin. It is almost not volcanic. It is so yin. It is almost not volcanic. It is very peaceful. You can find harmony. Gran Canaria. It's very relaxing. Slow pace. Opposite. Total opposite from Tenerife.
This is another volcano, Mount Corona, in Lanzarote as well.
And here you can see the depth of the energy of the island. The biggest volcanic mouth and the highest volcano on the island. Lanzarote. Here we are again in Tenerife. You can see island here.
Yeah. And
on the bottom right part.
Yeah. Again, we are in the park of Mount Teide, and we have these beautiful rock formations that are really yellow. They're beautiful. They're very big.
Fausta says we were there some years ago. We saw it in Lanzarote volcano. How energetic it is compared to Sardinia?
Okay, it's very different from Sardinia because Sardinia is a very, very old place. It is one of the oldest places on Earth. And so the energy is strong, powerful, and very yin in Sardinia.
My dad spends 3 months each year in Tenerife because he feels healthier there.
Yeah,
of
the
course.
climate of course helps a lot. Yeah.
Also the energy, but
the energy as well.
Britons is years, decades, and even centuries that they go to the Canary Islands for health reasons. Starting in the 1800s, they traveled there to have these beautiful climates on their skin, to have a sunbath, and because it's very healthy because it is hot but not too hot. It's the eternal spring. It is called the eternal spring. So you can have the right amount of heat to hit your bones and heal the sickness about having to do with coldness, but also you can have health effects about circulation because you can feel the heat, but the water is cold, and many times you have some you can do
but also the weather
thermal
the weather is
like this.
Is very dry, and this is very good for all bone structure. Okay, just a moment. Going back to the question how the energy differs from Sardinia, we have to say that as Sardinia is very, very old, it is a very stable place. Apart from the fact that on the island of Sardinia, you cannot have any earthquakes. So you feel very rooted.
Even too much.
Sometimes even too much, yeah.
Sardinian people are very rooted.
Yeah. So sometimes they don't move, you know what we mean. So this is the difference. While here, anyway, even Gran Canaria, which is more yin, but anyway, they are volcanic islands, and so they give you some kind of energetic, vital,
and also here in the Canary Islands, you can have.
You feel very energetic anyway.
You can have often places of energy with 100,000 bovies. It is quite normal. In Sardinia, you can have higher energies, separate places of Sardinia. Here in the Canary Islands is more difficult, but you can you have perfectly well balanced 30,000 bovies all around the island, and some peaks, the sacred spots.
Very energetic. So these are, as we were saying,
piedras amarillas,
yellow rocks. You see how beautiful they are. The colors are really
as I have learned here in the Canary Islands, you will be very happy to hear about this. Volcanic eruptions are like wines. They change based on the year of eruptions. So every year the wine is different. Every year the eruption is different. The chemical structures are different. You can have yellow ones, you can have black ones, you can have red ones, and also very peculiar phenomenon, which we will show you in 2 minutes, even green, blue rocks.
Yes, they're beautiful. Yeah, did you ever see lava flows? Is asking Mariella. No, we have never seen them. We haven't been yet to Etna, Mount Etna, so we haven't seen them yet.
Wonderful
rock formation.
Yellow rocks. And here you have azulejos.
Azulejos. So they're really, if you look at my scarf, which is actually light blue, and you see the stones, it's the same color. So they're really light blue. They're beautiful. What else can you say?
So you can try to drink some lava flow, you. To taste some lava wine.
Well, the wines are very good on the Canary Islands, especially Lanzarote, but also in Tenerife.
You have very peculiar dock wines.
Because anyway, the land is rich in minerals. And here you have what is called the petrified city. And it's a very special rock formation. As you see, they look like chimneys. And they reminded me of Turkey, the area of Cappadocia.
This is in Lanzarote. And actually, these stones are made of volcanic ashes. So the stone is very soft. If you put the finger there, you can write on the stone. You can see its ashes. It's crystallized ash. And here you have pines. You couldn't expect it in a tropical island, but you have pines.
Yes, you do have around 1,000 meter.
Until 2,000 meters.
Yeah, you have pine, and this is a peculiar, typical pine tree of the Canary Islands, and it is very special because it cannot burn. Actually,
cannot burn.
Yes,
I really when I heard about it, I wasn't believing it, but then I saw some areas in which the forest had a fire, and actually the cork was burned, but the
trunk was
the external part of the trunk was burned, but the tree was alive.
Yes. And here they used to build at the first period of the Spanish conquest, when the Spanish started to build some towns and cities. They used a lot of this wood to build their houses, and they built beautiful houses with typical terraces and balconies.
You can see the beautiful Mount Teide from a distance, and on the right again the sea clouds. Sea clouds again inside the pine forest. And then here you can see the different levels, because here we are in a road going downwards, and we are literally entering the clouds. The clouds cannot go above that level, and so many times you can drive inside the cloud directly.
And on these islands we have some beautiful examples of trees. So if you love trees, it's really the place where to go. And this is called the Pino Gordo, the big pine tree, the fat big pine tree, and it is really very, very high, and yeah,
54 meters high, and 12 meters diameter.
So this trees, a tree like this one is of course very, very old, and the energy is just, can imagine, amazing. So we often go there with our groups because we love people to see and experience the energy of this place.
And you can charge,
yeah,
by putting
your hand inside. There is a special ritual there. If you go there, a ritual for luck, you know. But also you can charge actually. And we have this friend, you know, he sells crystals there, always there, exactly beside, next to this tree, because it has a lot of energy. And of course also because lots of tourists go there, and he charges his crystals inside that tree. Beautiful. Yeah, we love this. I love trees personally. I love trees, and this one is one of my favorites. Yeah, we do not have much time left. Here we are with a group of people, just before starting a meditation there, to get charged with this beautiful energy. And you see that the size is really huge. Huh? But time goes too fast, really. My goodness, it seems time we have talked just like 15 minutes and it's already 1 hour. My goodness. So we haven't finished with the Canary Islands, I think, because we still have to make you see other wonders of the nature. There's so much to see on this island. So follow us again next week, same time. 9 o'clock in Italy, but 8 o'clock British time, and we will really be glad to see you back here and show you something more about these beautiful islands that we love so much. So from us for now, bye.
From Sardinia this time.
Ciao for now.
Bye. Ciao.
And see you next week, and thanks for watching and being with us. Bye.
Bye.